Now I'm going to go ahead and do another image just to talk about some of those other things that we can do inside of the double exposure. So I'm going to open up from device, and I'm going to start with a portrait. So let's go to some of those portraits we had from a couple of days ago. See, I've been doing my shooting assignments. Okay, so I'm going to pick one of these that have a little bit more like shadow on this side before we started to do the fill. So I'm just going to grab this first one. And with this image, I'm going to be combining it with a couple of other things. Now with double exposure, sometimes black and white works really well. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Tools, and I'm just going to click this one down here at the bottom that's black and white. And I've got several different options. Here's my neutral. I got bright. I'm going to go ahead and use the one that says film. That's got a little bit more contrast. And you'll see the way the double exposures work is if it's 100% white, then it can't add anything to those areas. But if it's black, it's basically like unexposed. There's nothing there, so we can add other elements to those areas. So I'm just going to go with this black and white one here. And then I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to say double exposure. And then I'm going to add a photo. So I'm going to add kind of like an overall texture. So I'm going to scroll down here, and there was like the morning, there was a lot of dew and stuff. And so I'm going to pick this picture here. And that's going to kind of give it this overlay effect of kind of this dappley texture sort of a thing. And now again, we've already worked with this one here. That's the opacity, right? So there's my picture, and then there's, you know, all of that picture. So I can work with that opacity blend. How much of that green do I want? How much of those water droplets do I want to kind of show up? And then this one we didn't really talk much about, but this is the different blending modes. So I can do something like overlay, or I can do darken, right? And it's going to play with how it kind of interacts between those two. I think for this time I'm going to go ahead and just stick with the overlay. Now, once I've got that, there might be areas that I don't want that to show up in. So I can say, okay, yes, I'm happy with that. But then I'm going to again go up to our little top toggle part. I'm going to view those edits. And I'm going to say, well, maybe I don't want some of it up in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do my selective brush. And I'm going to do 100% double exposure. And so I do want all of that double exposure in these areas here. Maybe kind of coming up through this top area. And I'm going to kind of leave this area over here where there's not any of that double exposure. Now, if I make a mistake and I paint something over here, I just switch to 0%. And then I can take that away. And I can zoom in or out to make the brush bigger or smaller. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and hit the check mark for that first part. Now that I've got that done, I can go back, and I can still go to Tools, and I can add another double exposure as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click inside of here with double exposure, and I'm going to add a third picture. So I'm going to pick one of these ones in here. Let's maybe go with this one here. So now I can reposition this, right? So I can move this up or down. I can, you know, replace it or move it around within the overall frame. You know, maybe I just want a little bit of that kind of the leaf coming through there, maybe a little bit of that shell in that front part. Now, I don't have to worry about this hard edge over here because, again, I can blend that away, right? So maybe I just want a little part of that. Oops. So I'll go up there. I'm going to go ahead and do View Edits, and then I'm going to go to that double exposure, and again, selectively, I'm going to go ahead and just reveal the little part of that I wanted. And again, if I make a mistake in there, I can always bring this down to 0, and I can take it away from some of those areas that I didn't want it to be in. There we go. And then, oops, did I not check that? Okay. Then the next thing I might want to do, this area over here really is in need of something. So I'm going to go to Tools one more time, and I'm going to go double exposure. I'm going to add another picture. And let's see, there was like this picture, I think, of a flower my wife put on the table the other day. Let's just take that. And then also I can take this and I can zoom and I can adjust and those sort of things. So I'm just going to kind of place it, you know, kind of up in here. to kind of create something in that area over there. And again, if I need to adjust the opacity of that, again, I can bring that up or down. I could change, those overlays. I can make it lighter or darker. And then I still have that option to blend as well, so I can go to the view edits, and I can take that double exposure, and I can take the selective brush, and I can bring that back into this area. And so on. So there's a lot of flexibility we can do inside of there. And again, we have the ability to, that was our original picture. Here's all of that, nature and texture. So there's lots of ways that we can be kind of creative and think about how we can combine multiple images to create something a little more, interesting or different. And again, we might be working on our theme of the growing up. So, there might be ways that we can incorporate some of these techniques of collaging and putting together different elements to also be able to combine. And so hopefully that gives you guys some ideas of how you can work with the double exposure part of your Snapseed. So we're just going to do one other really quick example about how we could do a double exposure. And it's where we're going to have a background and then multiple pictures of the same person doing different things. So again, our idea is that we're going to be doing something that's going to be related to growing up. And so I just wanted to give you guys a couple of more examples of ways that you could, interact with this double exposure. You don't have to use double exposures as part of yours for your growing. It might be something that where, you just want to do a straight photograph or you have some other idea. But this is, an option for you. So I'm just going to take several pictures, one where maybe like, I'm over here doing something, and then maybe another one where, it's over here, and we'll put those all together into one. So I'm going to go do the shooting really quick, and then we'll look at those images and we'll just jump right in and start to put them together inside of Snapseed. All right, so I just finished shooting those other couple of pictures, so let's go ahead and jump back into Snapseed. And if I go to all my photos, here's the new stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my background photo. So there's the background, and I'm gonna go to Tools and Double Exposure, and I'm gonna choose a new photo. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start with this one. This one's kind of in the middle. And again, I'm gonna bring up my opacity to 100%, say check. And then I'm going to go up to the view edits, and go to my double exposure and paint it in. So now I just want to reveal the person's just in the middle here. So I'm just going to bring in me there. And notice I don't have to be perfect because the background's exactly the same, right? Check. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to open up, Tools. And then I'm going to do another double exposure. Add a photo, go to my recent, and let's grab this photo over here. And again, you can see that's just me working over here with the sledgehammer. So we'll say okay to that. And then we'll go up to the top and we'll say okay, view edits, and double exposure, mask it. So again, 100% exposure, so that was all over here, right? And again, I can just go right up there. I want to make sure I don't paint anything over there, right? Because I don't want that to go away. And so now we've got two pictures, and then I'm just going to bring in a third. So again, Tools, double exposure, add a photo. Here's my third photo, was the one over here. There we go. And it's just cleaning up the lens over here. All right. Check. And then we're just going to go up at the top, view edits, double exposure, select, and then I'm just going to paint this in over here. All right. So that's the basic idea. It's really all it takes. I mean, you saw how quick that editing is once you kind of know where the buttons are and what they do. But so it allows me to have multiple exposures of the same person in the same space doing different things, might be a way of illustrating your growing up. Maybe you're dressed in different ways in the same room. Maybe you lived in the same room your whole life, and shows that progression or something like that. So just have fun, explore, experiment, try new things, and hopefully, you can create something quickly and easily and creatively. All right, I'm excited to see what you guys are going to create.